Welcome to Behind the Scenes for Doing Something About Gandhi, the video where Queen Elizabeth doesn't do that one thing she does. This is the third of 5 10K week videos in celebration of reaching 10,000 subscribers, and I'm going to be talking about how we write and perform our sketches. Our entire video making process has been optimized to produce the best possible final product in the shortest amount of time, which makes the experience unusual. We always make an effort to tell a story in our videos, no matter how ridiculous they are. Out of all the things I do, writing and storytelling are my personal favorites, so even if I'm just making a 3-minute comedy sketch, I still try and tell a compelling story. But a lot of times, I have to write a script in a couple of days or even a few hours. To make this easier, and bear with me here, I base our videos on the works of Shakespeare. Not just that one. From an analytical perspective, his stories can all be broken down into 5 distinct acts, though I am compelled to clarify that he did not have this in mind when writing his stories, in much the same way that the writers of great films never once considered 3-act story structure or the hero's journey, because both of those things are garbage. For an extended and much more intelligent version of the rant I am currently omitting from this video, check out Screenwriting 101 by Film Crit Hulk. It is on Amazon for $5, and it's the best screenwriting book I've ever read. So, a quick rundown. In the first act of Shakespeare's stories, there's always a pre-existing conflict. This creates a sense of history and draws you into the world. The second act is where the story really starts. By describing what happened here, you'd be effectively summarizing the plot. Whatever happens, the important thing is that it makes the pre-existing conflict worse. In Act 3, a big thing happens. It's not the climax, but it's big enough to be one. This thing drastically changes the direction of the whole story while still piling on to that original conflict. In Act 4, everything starts to spiral out of control. Characters make a bunch of decisions, there may be some quiet time to reflect, and ultimately, things get worse. Then in Act 5, you have the resolution, where all the themes of the story are wrapped up and driven home, even if it's not a happy ending. For our videos, we don't treat this as a strict format so much as a rough guide for quickly building an effective story out of our pile of video game jokes. Step 1, pre-existing conflict. These guys hate each other. Step 2, these guys have to work together to avoid being destroyed by a common enemy, which is a problem because they hate each other. They argue for a while about what to do, not really making any progress until Step 3. This doesn't change their goal, but it does make the stakes more real and alters the dynamic a bit by knocking a player out of the game. Now, Step 4, we have a bunch of rapid-fire, panic-induced personal attacks before Step 5. Elizabeth tells everyone to shut up and tries to put together a plan, which is immediately ruined anyway.
I'm going to space.
Because of our need for speed, we also have some unorthodox methods of shooting, directing, and acting. But instead of hearing me ramble on about it, let's talk to some of the actors.
Yeah, before doing this, I really didn't know what Civ 5 was.
I didn't know much about Civ 5, because I don't like 4X games.
I knew absolutely nothing. After I saw what it was, I did look it up a little bit, but I had never played it before.
Grand strategy was never my thing. Like, Age of Empires is cool. Like, individual units I can do, but like, diplomacy, forget about it. I just want to vanquish my enemies.
I could tell y'all already knew so much about the topic. As soon as I started talking to you and then met everyone on set, it was, other than the people, like other actors who maybe weren't familiar with the game, everyone else was just so aware of so many different games, what people think about them, have played them before.
Like, I tried doing the Rome 2 Total Wars, and like, you can't just wipe out your enemies. You have to like make alliances, which I don't want to do. I want the entire map to be mine.
The average White Lightning video, it's pretty time consuming. But it's also a lot of fun, just because the scripts are always super funny.
See, when you walk onto a Kyle Sullivan set, the atmosphere is, let's say, relaxed.
It was really simple setup. We did one room with a beautiful view of the Capitol, and so it was just like one room with a circle table, and we had the camera set up, all the close-ups to each person.
He'll take the camera. He'll give everyone their lines, which he hasn't asked any of them to memorize their lines. Why would he? So everyone has a script in front of them, and he points the camera at each character and says, let's do the entire thing.
Like, I remember we went around the table, and each character did just like all their lines. Then we went to the next person, they did all their lines, and the next person did all their lines.
So it sounds very strange, because you're in a quiet room with one person just saying things that don't make sense out of context.
And then, do you think that you were able to perform as well using this method rather than
Any other
just
way?
acting out the scene?
I think it helped. Well, I think it worked with your style of...
Absolutely not. But it's still fun.
I might have been able to do it a little better because I would have taken cues from the way people asked me or said their lines to me. I could have reacted a little better based off of how other people acted.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe I would have, because we did a lot of just takes of lines, one right after the other, without any like reacting or anything like that. So there was a lot of opportunity to play with it and give different tones and emphasis on different words and whatnot.
It was different. It was so unique because I had never done anything that was like a sketch based on a game before. And what was funny, because like your first question was about did I know anything about it. A lot of times with films, like you'll get your script and you'll kind of have an idea as to where it came from, what it was inspired by, and all of that. And there isn't a lot of back knowledge you need about it because it's all being given to you in this thing they made. But with your sketch, it was like I kept learning more and more on set. And then as I knew more, all the inside little tiny jokes started being like hilarious.
I do film as well, and it was just me and my friends when we were young out in the woods with a camera, just pouring fake blood on each other. And this is like the more mature extension of that, more or less. And so it's a blast.
If you'd like us to elaborate on anything from this video, leave us a question in the comments and we'd be happy to answer. Tomorrow's behind the scenes video will be about combining multiple video sources into a single composite shot featuring 2 of our videos, Mad Max and Papers, Please. Until then, thank you for helping us reach 10,000 subscribers and have a great week. Ta-da!